Hello everyone, welcome to today's deck profile. Today we're doing Heroic Champions. This is a really fun deck, really based around one-punching your opponent with a card like your Heroic Champion Excalibur, based around warrior monsters. Without further ado, let me go ahead and hop right in. Some of this deck you might remember from a deck called Clown Blade, based around cards like Halibur and for Mage, Trick Clown. Speaking of Halibur, this is a Cyber Dragon, so if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, you can special summon him. Then if this card attacks a defense position, monster gets piercing battle damage. And if this card deals battle damage, you can add a heroic card from your deck. So this is a great starter card, especially if you need one more monster to go into your combos. Next up, another card from Clown Blade, Thousand Blades. If this card's in attack position, you can discard a heroic card to special a heroic monster from your deck. Then you change this to defense. If you take damage while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon it. Great starter card for the deck. Moving on to the newer one, Morningstar. This came out in Dimension Force. If you control two or more warrior monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then if this card's normal special summon, you can add a heroic spell or trap. And if this card's in your grave, well, you have 500 or less life points, you can special summon it, but negate its effects. Great card. It allows you to search some of the spell and traps they have now, like Envoy or Call, or if you just need to get bigger, Heroic Champs. So he is a great search card for the deck, plus a free special. Speaking of free specials, 3 copies of another Difo card, Knuckle Sword. You can special summon it if you control a non-level 1 heroic challenger monster or heroic monster. Then you can pick one warrior monster you control with a level. This card gains that level. However, you're locked into X these monsters for the rest of the turn. So Knuckle Sword's a great extender for the deck. Then play 3 copies of Double Lance. If it's normal summoned, you can special another Double Lance from your hand or graveyard and face up defense. This card can't be used as synchro material, has to be used for a Warrior XD summon, which in this deck we don't really have a problem with. Next, we play 3 copies of Sword Shield. This one is kind of like a hand trap. During either player's turn, if you control a heroic monster, summon this card from hand to the grave. For the rest of the turn, you take no battle damage, and heroic monsters can't be destroyed by battle. Great way to make sure that you guys are protected if you went first, which you normally want to go second with this deck. But it's a really great way to keep you guys around for next turn. For the last day of the heroic monsters, we have 2 extra sword. Any XD monster XD summoned using this gets an extra 1000 attack. You're rarely going to use this guy, but he occasionally comes up to get that last bit of damage. And finally, 2 copies of Rookie Warrior Lady. It's a hand trap that if your warrior monster battles an opponent's monster, you can discard this card. Your opponent's monster loses attack equal to their defense. Then if this card's in grave, you can banish a Earth Warrior, or return an Earth Warrior from your grave to your hand by banishing this card. Finally, 1 class sword. If special summoned by Heroic Challenger, add a Heroic Challenger from deck to hand. You're rarely going to be using this guy, but he is good for the once in a lifetime that you need him. Moving on to spells. One of the new Difo cards, playing 3 Envoy. Add a heroic monster from your deck to your hand, so it is a Rhoda. Then if your life points are 500 or less, banish this from grave, target a heroic card in your grave, add it to hand. Great card, especially with one of the new XD monsters that guarantees you can get that grave effect. Next, from the Crystal Revenge box, we are playing 3 copies of Heroic Call. This is a reborn or a special from hand of any warrior monster, but if it's a non-heroic, it loses its effects and can't attack. We don't have to worry about that in this deck. Then if your life points are 500 or less, banish this from your grave, target a face-up monster you control, and it gains 500 for each heroic card you control, and each heroic card attached to an XZ monster you control. This is another great way to just get your XZ monsters absolutely massive. The other big way to do that is Heroic Chance. You can target a face-up heroic monster you control, and its attack is doubled, but it can attack your opponent directly. Usually you don't have to worry about that, so long as your opponent made the mistake of leaving one monster in attack position, you're just going to one-punch them. Then you're playing 1 Foolish Burial, and 1 Rhoda, because it is a Warrior deck, so Rhoda's fantastic. Moving on to the traps. I'm playing 3 copies of Heroic Advance. If a Heroic monster is targeted for an attack, you can target another face-up level 4 Heroic monster, double its attack during the battle phase, and switch the attack target to it. But monsters can't be destroyed by this battle, so effectively it's a great way to make sure your opponent doesn't kill any of your more necessary monsters. And finally, 3 copies of Heroic Retribution Sword. This will equip onto one of your heroic monsters, and all battle damage you take from that monster is also inflicted to your opponent. After damage calc, destroy any monster that battles the equipped monster. So it's a great way to kind of lead into mad, mutually assured destruction if your opponent tries to punch you after you've lowered your life points. Moving on to the extra deck, we're going to start with our boss monster, Heroic Champion Excalibur. This guy is usually who you want to do your punching with. He has the effect that once per turn, detach 2 XYZ material from this card, and its attack becomes double its original attack until your opponent's next end phase. So he can go up to 4k base, and then you can keep adding on to that. So he is a great one-punch card. The other card you want to use with it is Heroic Champion Clavidish. Your opponent cannot target monsters for attacks, except for this one. You can only use one of the following effects per turn. You can pay life points so that you only have 500 left. Then at the start of battle phase, double the attack of one monster you control. Normally, you'd go for your Excalibur. When attack is declared involving an opponent's monster, you can attach material, target one face-up monster your opponent controls. This card gains attack equal to that monster's attack until the end phase. So it's kind of like an Honest. But this is how you trigger your effects, like your Heroic Call and Heroic Envoy from the graveyard. Then some cards that if you have to go first, you can use. Kusanagi. It takes 3 level 4 warrior monsters, and it can negate a trap activation and then gain 500 attack. Not a great card, but it's useful. Gandiva is a Solemn if your opponent tries to special summon a level 4 lower monster, except during damage step, detach material to destroy the special summoned monsters. So if it's multiple, you can still negate multiple. Finally, a new Difo card. Heroic Champion Jargrefner. That's how I pronounce it. It is probably wrong. First time a warrior would be destroyed by battle or card effect, it's not destroyed. You can attach 2 materials, target rank 4 or level 4 warrior monster in your grave, special summon it. Then this card gains attack equal to its original attack. When an attack is declared involving your opponent's monster, gain life points equal to half that monster's attack. So it's a great way to kind of build up your life points afterwards. Let's go ahead and show you a couple combos. So sadly, this isn't one of those decks where you can start with 1 or 2 cards and make it all the way. So let's go ahead. We're going second. We're going to special summon your Assault Halberd. Then you will normal summon Thousand Blades, discard any card that's a heroic, which will allow you to special your level 4 Morningstar. You'll activate Morningstar to special summon it, which will allow you to search your Heroic Envoy. You'll activate Heroic Envoy, adding the Knuckle Sword, special the Knuckle Sword, make it a level 4. Then you will overlay these 2 level 4 monsters. That's in defense now. To summon Excalibur. Overlay these 2. To summon Clavidish. You'll activate Excalibur, attaching 2. It's at 4k. Activate Clavidish, dropping your life points down to 400. You'll banish that to add Morningstar back to your hand for next turn. And then you'll just enter battle, and that'll go up to 8k, and then you can punch with Clavidish. It's not much, but that is a massive creature. That, once again, if you open any, like a Heroic Chance, or a Call, or even Warrior Lady, it just boosts it even more. But base, if you open Halberd, Thousand Blades, and literally any heroic card, you can get to the main combo of the deck. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one, when maybe we have a good heroic challenger released. Unban him, Konami, please unban my boy. Please bring him back.